Jesus, you will understand the peace that surpasses all understanding. Oh my God. Yes, yes. Colossians 3:17 says, and whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of Jesus, our Lord, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Because through him you have peace. In him you have peace. You have peace with God, and you have peace through God. Oh, my friends, listen, just open up your eyes and see that God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. I know sometimes the enemy want to make you think that, this is not right, and, why is this and why is that? We can't answer all those why questions, but we can say this. We can say, for him I live, and for him I die. There's a time to live. There's a time to stand up and live. And when your time comes, you can die empty, knowing that you've given everything that God has given you. So, friends, be encouraged today on this Thursday. Love someone. Be have. Because what you don't have, you won't miss. But remember this, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS. God loves you, brothers and sisters.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
All right, it is time every Thursday. You know what goes on around here, and it's the most exciting day of the week, in my opinion. We got David West. Hey, man.
Hey, we're here.
What's going on?
Mr. Walker said, we hope you're there. He's come on TV and said, well, we're here, and we hope you're there. He said, now, remember, Cass Walker store, we doze, but we don't close. When he opened his stores, he didn't have no locks on his doors.
Right.
Because he said, we don't need no locks. I remember when he, I believe it was in the early 70s, when he went to closing at 12, we was over painting signs on some of them stores, and there's locksmiths in there putting locks on them. And I said, what are they doing that for? Mr. Epstein, he was one of his best friends, done his signs, and he said, we're fixing to start closing at 12 o'clock at night. I said, they never did have no locks on their doors.
I saw a clip of him, and it was kind of funny. He was saying, if you come and you shoplift at my store, we're going to beat you up and make it look like you beat us up first or something like that.
Yeah, I was standing there with him when he said it. Yeah. And he wasn't just saying it. You got in front of him, you might not beat him up, but you sure have a fight. He was stout as a bull. He had muscles like Charlie Atlas. Yeah. He walked sometimes. Even when they put him in a nursing home, he walked 5 miles a day.
Really?
And he wouldn't take old pills to keep him knocked out. He said, I just give me, I see it over my mouth, take that water down. He hit it in his mouth and then spit it out when they left. And he said, they try to get me down, but they can't get me down. Said, these crews, I get up, they think they put me to sleep. I start walking. I walk 5 miles a day. Oh, he had leg muscles. He'd get in the TV and, come here, woman. Woman come in, short dresses. He said, feel this leg. Wouldn't you like to have one like this? He was a character.
How many stores did he own around Knoxville?
One time, I think he had 50.
50.
I always thought he was kind of the forerunner of Walmart, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We had that for Walmart was ever even thought of around here.
Yeah.
Because you can go to the store and you can buy anything, clothes, dishes, whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
You can buy at Cass Walker stores.
Yeah, you know the little stove is on Gunsmoke.
Yeah.
Chester's always beating it up.
Yeah.
He sold them. I bought one year to put in the room part of my music store because it's back when we burnt coal.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought one for back. I need a booster, and that'd be a foreign. I think it's real cold. I bought one of them from him, brand new. He sold commodes, building supplies. Across that there from old authors, you know, as a building material place.
Yeah.
You can buy all kinds of stuff, plywood, and he had so many things. But he would just, somebody have a wreck with a tractor and trailer or something like that, and you just run up and buy everything in it and then sit outside and sell it.
Yeah.
How long was the stores around Knoxville? How long were the stores around in Knoxville before the last one closed?
I don't know. Lord. They started thinning out pretty quick when you got sick. He had Lord, look at me, he had Knoxville, you know. Lord, he had them on Broadway, Western.
This is what he thought. Every one of his stores was on the right side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
He says, people ain't going to shop going into town. They're going to shop when they go back home. So all their stores, they didn't have to cross traffic. They just pulled in.
You're right.
Every one of them, I'm telling you, that I've ever seen was on the side where they just pull in to shop. And
he was a smart businessman.
He was.
Oh, Lord.
And he always built a big ledge in his window where he could set stuff. And you could sit down. If you was tired, you go up there and sit down. He had things. He was just different to other people. He thought different. And, I mean, he wanted to do something that nobody didn't do. And he was pretty tricky-fied, too, because he had I remember he had greens. You got greens, you get this bag of greens here, it's a big mess of greens. Now, we're no cheaper than our competitor. They say this all $1 a bag. Ours is 99 cents a bag, and ours is 99 cents a bag. Now, the only deal is we throw in a piece of fat meat to season it with. And then he got this guy take a dog up the street, and he had his competition on the other side. And you know how dogs are, baskets back in. They set that stuff, you remember, that big old bushel baskets of greens all out in front of your store. That was an old way of life. Rolling big old drinks, things. I've rolled them out many times. We had a little store, too. He set them greens out there, and the guy come leading his dog or turned him loose or something. And he had a guy at the camera, and of course the dog raised his leg up. He had that on TV next morning. Now, our grain is above the high water mark. He was careful about his wording, you know. Our grain is above the high water mark. Well, you couldn't say anything about that. You know whose dog it was or nothing else. And
funny.
To make sure we get them green to get above the high water mark, he said this year.
That is funny. So where's Barney at today?
I don't know. Let's do the whole show for Barney.
Yeah, let's just do it for Barney.
Barney, wherever you are.
We know you're listening.
As they sit on Andrew Griffin, doggone you.
He's supposed to be bringing the guest in today.
Yeah, he's supposed to have Alan Williams. And I was bringing Jack next week, but I don't know what our schedule will be now. He may hit it.
We may have to be...
He's probably either selling insurance or making an arrest, isn't he?
Making an arrest. Citizens arrest. Citizens arrest.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking, I heard something that, of course, me and Howard goes up. I got a place in my garage where we open, light the fireplace, and we can sit around and talk. I got a big building I built for Dempsters, and we turned into a kind of a museum in the garage together. We got a lot of John Deere and RCs and Coca-Cola and different things in there, an old buggy and antique cars sometimes. And I got a big speaker and everything, we can play music. And I was thinking about him coming over here. L.E. White was a great friend of Howard's. Of course, he introduced me and Howard together. But I was listening to some of them tapes, and Conway got a CD out. He sung 18 songs on it. And when he sung Live in the Darkness, everyone he sung was like the artist. You would know it from the artist. He could sing like everybody. And when he done that, well, he couldn't find himself. And L.E. White told me this was before he made it. Of course, now Conway made it pretty good in rock and roll. Yeah. He had out some big stuff in rock and roll.
Right.
He made it pretty good, but L.E. we was working together, and he said, I found this star artist that would be a good star, but he said, he can't find himself. He needs to be himself. So we did. Why? I said, who is it? And he said, Conway Twitty. And he's the one that taught him how to growl and what to sing, wrote a lot of his hit songs. Wrote his first #1 hit country song.
Jasper says we have a phone call. Hello, this is WYSH. What's up?
Hey, buddy. Hey, it's Sammy, Barney.
Hey, Barney.
I heard you talking. Hey, I texted Ron earlier telling him that I've got tied up, and so I'm driving here for just a little bit. But Alan Williams is coming over with us on the 25th.
Okay.
And 3 weeks from today.
Where are you at?
I'm actually driving. I could, if you want to hang loose, I'll come. They got me tied on this insurance business, buddy.
All right, Barney.
Hey, can David hear me?
Yeah, he can hear you.
Yeah, I see you.
Hey, if I don't get I'm not going to get there before you leave. I'll call you later, but Justin's back in town. We may try to bring Justin over Monday night if you want him.
Oh, yeah, we need him. We need him. We need him and Dale T. Sharp. A lot of folks knows Dale T. from Dixie State Feed.
Yeah.
Dixie's, Big Mac won't everybody know it. Their head hit his leg taken off, and
right.
So everybody keep him in your prayers and thoughts, and call him or send him some flyers or go see him. He's in the hospital. He'd love to
have a good drummer. Do we have a good drummer for Monday night? Maybe named Ron Meredith.
Did you hear what?
I said, do we have a good drummer for Monday night?
Oh, yeah. Ron said he's coming
over?
Ron said he's coming in for backup. Rick Campbell, you'd be surprised who he's working with now.
Yeah.
The rock band years ago, 3 Dog Nights. You remember them, don't you?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I'll tell you a great story. Let's bring Walker up. Actually, it's Alan Williams has a great story. When we have him in there, if you'll remind me, he did a piece on 3 Dog Night. One of those guys that played in that band back in the early 70s has some kind of something for kids, I think, somewhere. But Alan did an article or a piece on him on television a few years ago, and we'll get Alan to tell folks about that. Yeah, 3 Dog Night had a lot of good.
Yeah, I remember. I had one of their records too when I was real young. But Rick, the drummer lives up there real close to Rick. And Rick,
that's him. That's who I'm talking about. Yeah.
And Rick's been, let me tell you the story on him. Rick's been playing steel for him.
Oh, wow.
And the drummer is supposed to bring his snare drummer, and he'll be there Monday night, too. And him and Ron can swap out if Ron gets over, but I hope he does. But anyhow, I told him Ron come and they play. We got 2 shows. One of them play one, and one play the other. But
Howard has to save my seat for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we said.
Actually, if nobody else shows up, me and Howard's going to sing. That's the only reason those other people shows up.
Yeah, for safety. Y'all there for safety.
Where's this going to be at? Where's this going to be?
Well, I know.
Wild Wings.
Monday night?
Yeah. Monday night at Wild Wings. 2 shows. We got Dale T. Sharp coming. Boy, he's a good singer and player, too. He's a real good fiddle player, too. We got Rick's a real super-duper fiddle player, too. But he does that different one down in Georgia. We might get him to do that. He's real good on it. But he's playing bass for us, I reckon, until we get Mike cured up. And then we got Three Dog Night on the drum, and of course Danny Hutchins on the piano, the Charlie Pride piano player. He's really, really good. And he's going to do his new song, A Stranger in My House, I believe. He said he needed a drum on that. And 2 weeks ago, he was going to give him do it, but we ran out of time. And of course, we got Ken Bonham on electric guitar, and Rick Campbell. He's doing some of the comedy now. Rick's learning comedy a little bit, and he's singing real well. And he specializes on George Jones. And we got, of course, he plays fiddle. It's like outside. He works with about everybody, Bill Monroe and Bill McCurry and David West, and that's when I woke up. But anyhow, he started out with me and some more of them younger bands back in, but he said he saw me play. He's going to come over. He's going to be over the next 2 or 3 weeks, just when we run out as guests. Rick's coming to tell stories. Hey, he met me and everything, and he's just a young boy, and he saw me pull up in a limousine to play in his hometown and all. We can tell all that. It's funny. And, of course, we've got some others that helped us out. We got all the girls. We got 3 good girl singers. We got Mandy Britches and Tara Loretta and Crystal Gale. And I mean, they all 3 can sing top shelf. And then we got Ethan that does Elvis imitations, and he takes us off with How Great Thou Art. And it's just a really good show. Creed Daniels, judge, comes down, and Jane Holt, she was over her last time, I believe. We have so many people over here in this area that comes to that show. It's a really good show. I know, and Doug will be doing the sound for us. He's a good sound man. If anybody needs one for a big Coliseum or whatever it is you need for, he does sound. And I mean, he's one of the best there are around. And
what time does this start on Monday?
First show's at 6:30.
Okay.
Then we'll take a break and go back. We try to take a 15-minute break at 6:30, about 10 minutes to 7, about 10 after 7, we go to 7:30, but it's usually 8 before we can get them all on, because I have a bunch of guests. 2 weeks ago, Barney, we had that guy that sung
you need to tell them about Noah, the American Idol.
He done that.
He got cut the other night, and boy, they messed up. I cut him.
Man, wasn't that good?
Oh my gosh, yeah, but they cut him. They had to cut it down to 24, and I think they had 150 contestants. It was on ABC television Sunday night, and Noah Peters, the singing barber, he's fixing to hit it big time. But boy, I hated that they eliminated him.
He knew it was going to have to go that way because he has so many obligations he couldn't do it. See?
Yeah. Well, he's the real deal by far. But you have so many singers, Howard. How come me and you never get a chance?
Well,
what are you saying, Kenny?
Yeah, I know it's great.
He done the national anthem for.
You need to have him up here some week here pretty soon. But I've got to go in and do some insurance business now. So I'll be listening. I'll holler at you later though. But I look forward to seeing you Monday night. Everybody come out there with Wild Wings Monday night.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Did you hear me?
Call me about lunchtime or what?
Make sure everybody knows to come out Monday night at Wild Wings. And
all right, he wants to know, are you going to call him about lunchtime or dinner time? Or
call me and say hi.
Tell him I'll call him in a little bit. If I get free, I'll try to grab lunch with him.
All right.
Tell him I'll call him in a little bit. But Thank you, guys. I'm listening to you.
All right, Barney, can you do me one more favor?
Absolutely.
Do your citizen's arrest.
No, that was Gomer did citizen's arrest.
But Barney imitated Gomer.
No, citizen's arrest. Citizen's arrest.
All right, buddy, have a good one.
Tell them all to nip it in the bud's what they need to do. Just nip it.
All right, buddy.
Hey, buddy, y'all have a great day.
Bye-bye. Barney's a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Barney's real nice. Even when he hands you a ticket, he's nice.
You top shelf.
Yeah, him and his one bullet.
One bullet.
I first saw him. We were here on vacation from Vegas, and I saw Barney out the Apple Festival. Super nice guy. That's when I first met him.
Oh, yeah, he was.
8-9 years ago, so.
Yeah.
So
he got to meet Don Knotts, he said, and of course he was he said, the first thing I done wrong, I called him Mr. Knotts. He didn't like, they won't be called Barney, is what they are. It's like Chet Atkins. He walked out on stage. Of course, he didn't care because he managed her and everything else. And Martha Carson was the lady that had that big song, Satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who took her to Nashville, made her where she was, and Bill Carlisle and a bunch of them. But when Chet became president of RCA, and she got up at Sodaville, she got Chet was our playing guitar for her, and she said, I just wanted to thank Chester for coming up here and playing guitar for me today. I said, we've done so many shows. It's okay. Some people can do it, but other people can't. It's like Mr. Walker, there's certain things you could do. This guy told one time, he'd just been working there a week.
Mm-hmm.
He's a young boy. He's didn't quit school because his mom and dad is sick, and he was trying to get him something to eat. And Ray Fox, he worked with about everybody in Nashville. He worked with a lot of people, Marty Robbins and different people. And he was he was a big side man of Nashville. And he quit, time to kind of retire, so he came back and stayed with me till I got out of it. He was with me for years. And we was up there with Mr. Walker doing a show, and he was with us on it. And they was telling a story about it. And he said that he'd quit school and he's riding his bicycle to get to work, and said that they was telling jokes. And Mr. Walker didn't even hardly know he worked there. He just knew he was one of them, and not which one, but one. And said he was wanting to tell a joke too. And he said, Mr. Walker here said he lies so much, he has to get somebody else to call his dogs for him. Oh, made Mr. Walker mad, and he fired him. I said, who are you? And he told him, he said, don't you work for me? And he said, yes. I said, you're fired right now. He said he dropped his head down and he walked off and said, Fred Smith or somebody said he got up there and said, Mr. Walker said, that poor little boy needs help bad. Said he's laying out of school working to get some groceries for his mama. Said he thought he was just telling a joke. He tried to fit in. Mr. Walker said, well, I can take a joke good as anybody else. Come here a minute, boy. You got a car? He said, no, sir. He said, you got a neighbor? You got a car? He said, yeah, tell him meet me over at my store tonight. And you come on, you go back to work. And said at night, they pulled the car up, and he loaded the trunk plumb down with groceries. He said he didn't get nothing busted. Oh, no. I want that off. I got a guy who picks all this damaged stuff up and sells it cut rate. Get down the middle or get a good one. And get some tater chips and stuff for your brothers and sisters there. I said, he'll turn around. Kids likes candy and stuff. They don't eat what we do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a kid, and I know I just get a bar of candy. That's something,
Mm-hmm.
And said he loaded the trunk down, and he stayed with him for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where he was, Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker wasn't a guy to hold a grudge, and he wasn't a guy. If he thought you really apologized and you was really serious in what you done, he looked up to you. But he didn't like a liar or a crook or a dog thief or a crooked politician. Now he hated it.
Yeah.
So right now, he'd probably go deranged, wouldn't he?
He'll be.
Dictionary word there.
Gosh, he'll be.
But anyhow, we had so much fun together, even on that show. And I was going to tell you about, I was talking about Conway when Barney come in there. So we were playing in Gatlinburg 6 nights a week. And Ellie said, I picked this guy. I've run into him. And so I've been studying him. Said he made pretty good rock and roll, but said he wants to go country. And said he's all the time singing about how a woman hurt him. And said, I got studying him over. And said, then I went to him and told him, said, you don't have a style. I said, you're going to have to get a style. I said, you're going to have to quit singing like Marty Robbins and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Merle Haggard, he sounded like Merle. He sounds just like him, don't he?
Oh, yeah.
I put his record on and say, who is this? Nobody guesses Conway Twitty. What's Marty Robbins? No, it ain't Marty. That's Haggard? No. Way back when he started? No. He sung 18 of everybody's hit songs. There stands a glass and done better than the guy that had the original. Mm-hmm. Some of them had sung it better than they did. And he said, I told him, said, I've got to make you get you a style so you can make it. So he said, well, what do you want me to do? And he said, first off, don't never talk about how a woman hurt you. You need to turn it around. We got all kinds of people talking about that. He said, talk about you hurt a woman and you're sorry. It's broke your heart and you're wanting her back. And his first hit song was, I love you more today than he can from now on. So he was mean to her. Mm-hmm. We've already done the things that he plans to do, so don't be surprised that late at night I'm in your dreams with you, mm-hmm. you know. So, and Conway looked at it and said, that's a hit song. He said, I know it. I wrote you. So we went out. It made #1, went platinum. Yeah. Went platinum. I mean, that's as big as you can get. And he said, now you need to get your voice down where you can growl just a little bit. You know, really hurt. They can feel the pain. Yeah. And said, you need to be singing to women, looking up to her and apologizing to women. So when you walk out on that stage, well, if you got the woman, you got the man, you know, and the kids. Mama pretty well rules the roost. So,
well, the women's one buys the record and CDs or whatever, you know.
That growl gets him, though, that growl.
Yeah, see, Ellie was really a smart man, way smarter than anybody gave him credit for, but I knew him. Me and Howard probably knowed him better than most people because me and him traveled together on the road with Bonnie and Buster, and then, boys, we worked show after show together. Yeah. He would come back and work for me for a lot. I mean, every year we done so many shows together. Yeah. And we just always, you had to take him for what he was. Now, you wasn't no way to straighten him out. You just had, he was LA, so you had to get down to that level and work. That's why you did it. Yeah. See, I always understood that better than most people. They get a chart or something to go by, and they can't waver it and make it come out. It's like if you ain't got an electric machine to smooth the contract, take that trowel, the concrete, take that trowel and smooth it out. You got to get it smooth, whatever it takes. Ain't that right? Yeah. And I understood those people. Howard knows, I could walk off and I left Luke and L.E. together. They was almost ready to fight. Next day when I went back. I mean, and I could work them both. Yeah. I mean, and I'd take bands that didn't even like each other, and I'd say, hey, can you sing backup for him? Well, he don't like me. I said, he told me he was the best backup singer in the country. Well, yeah, I'll sing for him. I'd go and say, you want him to sing backup? He's the best backup I've ever heard. He did say it then. Yeah. I don't think he wants to pick for me to sing. Yeah, he said you was the best singer around here. Put them right back together. It's better than getting them fighting, see? Yeah. And Bonnie Lou would tell them if they got in trouble over something, go talk to David. He knows more about this kind of stuff than I do. And Mr. Walker would do that too. He'd say, I don't know much about record stuff. Just give them to David. Now, he knows more about this stuff, and he'll tell me what I need to do. But I could put things together, and it'd work. See, just like on stage, I get them up there and make professionals out of them. Yeah. You know, it don't tickle me, but it's amazing. You go to church, and the spirits are going real good. Everybody's moving good. We're going to bring Joe and Loretta, or whatever her name is, up to sing. And they walk up real timid like. And the MC just says that, walks off. He should be holding that crowd together till they start at least coughing. Mm-hmm. And I watched it last night. They put them on and they walked up there, and they were professional singers. And the first thing they done is turn it back. Well, the only person heard him was the one that was talking in his ear. I couldn't hear him. The guy sitting well guarded, I know he didn't hear. I couldn't catch on what he said about the song because I think, you know. And it took, it's like this radio station. Like right now, we just quit for 30 seconds. They might turn the dial. They think you on fire. All right. I mean, you got to be doing something to be a professional. There are a lot of good amateur musicians out there. They're everywhere. There are people who can pick rings around me. And there used to be people could outsell me, but I got watching everybody, and I got to work with some of the greatest MCs that's ever been for this class of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason I was telling you about Jerry Rowe. He could speak to Washington. He could speak anywhere.
Yeah.
Man, I saw him when he spoke on that to the congressional
Hearing.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't use big out of words that people didn't know, like scrutinize or something, didn't know what he was talking about. He used words that the country man, everybody could understand.
Right.
I watched his speech real close. It's a 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if 10's going to be the highest, he was there. And so you got to learn how to sell the product. And when they get up there, his preacher told me, he said, I don't understand why we can be having such a good service and I put some singers on and they kill it. Well, it takes them 2 minutes to get fired up. They'll grab a songbook. Well, you know what you're going to sing. Have your song ready. And look here, they'll come in carry. I'm not making fun of nobody now. I'm just telling you what they do. They could need to learn. I had to learn where to speak to a microphone if I was going to do it for a PA system.
Right.
And I had to learn how to put people on. And I had to learn to stand there and look at them. If they're yawning and they're about to go to sleep, I better change my service because it's not helping to me. They just want me to, like the guy was arguing, he said, what do you think about what I'm telling you? He said, nothing. I'm just waiting my turn to talk. So that's what they're doing. They're waiting for a nap or something. If you don't have them in your hand, you better get them in your hand or sit down. Mm-hmm. You had to order. But see, and this preacher said they get up there and kill the service. Well, the MC has to be powerful enough he can keep it interesting show till they do come up there.
Right.
You know, I try to drag them up there because if you ain't careful, they'll show their best side. They'll turn around, turn their back to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them look pretty good that way, but, you know, not all of them. It's according to girl singers or what you got. If you're singing Harper Valley PTA, it might work. But you got to learn these little things. And the general public, and a lot of times the people that you work for don't realize what the show's about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the funniest guy. I want him. Just keep telling him we want him on our next show. He won't be funny like that. It's like trying to do a Barney show without Barney.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have what makes it. Barney is what makes it in the cop car. Mm-hmm. Everything else comes around Barney.
Right.
And see, if you don't know that, I just want to, I just like that Ernest T. Bass. Send me Ernest T. Bass up here. Well, I may not get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has to have help and things like that. It's so much to learn. But, you know, and seriously, when you're in church and somebody rejects you, that's a good time to thank the Lord for what all He's done for you, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see you people. The Lord has given us another day of life.
Right.
We have so much to be thankful for it, and so much, and we do. I mean, you can have a stroke in 1 second, and you're gone, maybe forever, one side or other, or you could just fall over with a heart attack. See, I mean, just like a lot of people did. You know, they said when Sanford died, he was on stage. He kept hollering about the big one, and it hit him, and he fell off stage. And they thought he was acting.
Yeah, thought he was joking.
They thought he was an actor.
Red Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this guy over here at the theater, when Red Speaks had it, fell off stage, and broke his leg. Old fella. He's a good friend of mine. And they laughed and gave him a big hand. They thought he had done a high jump.
Mm-hmm.
The poor person in their car ambulance, you know.
Man.
We played a show at Wild Wings and had Mark, he had his name Mark, I believe, that fiddle player we had over here, jumped up. Well, the stage was high as this, or maybe a little higher. He was standing up there playing that fiddle. He just walked over and jumped over at stage, and it was this wide because he had guitar cases in there. He hit that stage, bam, and went way out on the floor and never missed a note, didn't he? Fiddled right on through it, all through the audience, because he had one of them wireless microphones.
Right.
He had a good system up there, real good, and Rick went and bought him one, about like we use now. We already use them. And when he come back, now I understood that a little bit, jumping off that stage and down. This guy come back flat-footed and jumped and went in the air and come back on the stage. Then he heard him.
Was that kid we had in here?
That kid.
Mark something.
From Ukraine, yeah.
Yeah, the Ukrainian kid.
Ukraine. Yeah. He was playing, the devil went down Georgia or something, one of them hard tunes. He jumped off that high stage, over top of guitars and everything, missed them all. But when he come back, you know, he just looked at it and was sitting there looking at it, fiddling. And all of a sudden, of course, he was tall and slim, you know. He said, jumped straight up in there and went whoop, right back on stage. And I thought, wow. You know, this guy's might be immortal.
It's kind of like a Garth Brooks concert when he's climbing up the steel girders and swinging on the
Yeah. But I mean, there's some people, Blues Brothers, you know how they did it?
Mm-hmm.
We used to go watch the Blues Brothers, and they run up ladders up in the ceiling and
slide across the stage.
It's kind of like I had a guy here a while back working on a roof. It was cold, man, it was cold. It's so cold that they was washing this metal roof, and it was steep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how they even stood up there, but they's probably catching their shoes on them screws.
Mm-hmm.
And this little young boy, he was up there and he started sliding. He just took off running to the porch and jumped off. And just went out there and got something that wants something in. I said, man, did he fall? I said, no, he was going to go get me something off the truck. And he said, that's kids for you. He said he just jumped off there. Jumped off that high porch.
To be young again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sight what we could do, wasn't it, Harry?
That's right.
I mean, I look back at some things I did, and I just can't believe I did them. And then I watch these little kids at church and all, how they are, roll and fall and stand on their hands and cry just a little bit to make a little skin place. Now, if I hit mine, I have to have stitches. They don't do stitches on thin skin. They just tape it up. Glue, they got that glue goes on now.
Someone texted me and wanted me to ask you about your first booking agent, Lefty Combs.
Lefty Combs, boy, he was something else. He was a good booking agent.
Someone texted me
and David Farmer all the time.
Uh-huh.
Me and David Farmer started out when WYSH was in yonder, and it wasn't even half size big as this.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get in and set the band, and the last two people got in. They walked in, pushed up, and they shut the door, and then you backed up against the door. That's when David, see, he started just a little before me, and he started professional a little bit before me. He had a really good band. He had Kathy Hill that went on to make fame. You know, she worked Opryland for years, worked at Kathy Hill show and the Clayton show, and he had her. He started her out at, she must have been 10-year-old, 12-year-old or something, I don't know. But anyhow, that's where I met her first. And we had this booking agent named Lefty Combs. Well, Lefty didn't drive. He traveled by bus, and he carried this old-timey camera with him, and he showed Western movies. And he booked some pretty good shows, you know. So he'd come in, and he took a liking to David. And I guess David probably hooked him up to me more than likely, because I met him through somebody, and I'd say it was David Farmer, probably, because me and him was always buddies and worked together. And he worked at the barn, and he run the barn at different times. When I got on the bus ride, we had to be off some and go out of town, and he'd come over and run it. And then he hooked up with the Northy Hawaiians, which was really good. They were one of the best selling shows in here. They was the show for this area probably in their day, and you worked with them, and I got to work a few shows with them. But anyhow, this guy named Lefty Combs was a booking agent, and he come from, I think, Renfro Valley or somewhere. He come from a pretty big place, and he come down and he started booking theaters. He booked a lot of theaters, and some of them had pretty good crowds, and some of them didn't have too good crowds, and sometimes he'd get in trouble. You know, he'd go in a little town, maybe in Kentucky, and he'd say, we got a big thing planned for you here at Kentucky. He'd advertise it, put up posters, and, you know, he went pretty well, big time. He said, we're going to have a Wild West movie and a band. And said, we're going to have the band first, and then we're going to show a Wild West cowboy movie. Well, he had one of them old reel-to-reel 8mm movies. They had that big old screen, and that thing didn't take up much of it, you know. Well, the band was okay, but see, some of them come to see the movie. They didn't come about the band.
Right.
And then they'd all get into a fuss. I remember one time in Kentucky, David might have been there, and he may remember it if he listened to us, but anyhow, they had to call the state troopers to come get us out of the building. Because they were going to whoop everybody. They were going to whoop him and the band and everybody else. And the state trooper pulled up, y'all get in your car, you go. I mean, they was rough apart. I mean, they thinned them out real quick. Mr. Walker did a show like that one time, and L.E. White was with him. I wasn't with him. I was just too young yet. And he said that Monroe was with him. Monroe Queener and L.E. was with him. And one time they got in a fight. Mr. Walker wasn't with him, and they're going to whoop the band. He said they get jealous if bands back in because all the girls take off after them because they hadn't saw them. They want to be around them. And some of them was their girlfriends, and they'd wait on you to get in your car. And L.E. said when he got in the car, all of them, it was Tulick that worked for Flat and Scruggs and Ben Bailey and maybe another one. I forget who all they were, but Charlie Bailey was driving, and L.E.'s on this side up front. And he said they jerked the door open. They didn't know what was coming off. Jerked the door open and started beating them. And L.E. said, Lord, I couldn't even beat me up. And he sat down until I pushed the door and got out. And he had a big old fist, looked like Mr. Walker said, looked like a horse's hoof. And said, Mr. Walker said, every time he hit one, he hit the ground. And Charlie was a little bitty guy, and when he got out, he took one of them backstand rods with him. And they said he went like, he thought he just got out of World War II. They said he went around like an airplane. He was cracking heads. He said every time he hit one, he knocked him out. He said they had a whole pile of them boys laying there, and they got in and took off. Well, another time, that's what I was going to tell you about Mr. Walker. They said that Monroe said Dan always carried the money where they sold their tickets to divide up there, and said, Dan was coming, that guy was trying to steal his money back, and Dan was pulled from him, he trying to get in the car, and Mr. Walker got out. Said he just walked around there, and he all hit that guy and knocked him out. He laid on the ground. He said, now, Dan, get in the car, we got to go. Just left him laying there. They had some bad fights. You know, we worked at Indian Cave. I went up there 2 weeks ago, Indian Cave. They tried to destroy it. You couldn't destroy it. It's big, heavy block walls, concrete, look like a overhead of the interstate, them big old cleats that come down, big old fireplace where we cook baked potatoes, big old heavy metal windows. They broke the glass out. But them windows is all there in that big old fireplace, and they've had homeless or whatever. Oh, it's just trashed up, something awful. It was such a beautiful place, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Where was this at?
Indian Cave. His real thing. They got the
Blaine.
Blaine, up in Blaine.
Okay.
And we'd go up there, and we had a bus we traveled in back in, and we'd park the bus and had big crowds come out. And the lake's right there beside it, just like 100 feet, 50 feet from the building, maybe 75. And what they'd do, we'd go in there and take in big Idaho, the bass player's wife, would take tinfoil, and then she'd get us a big old baked potato, all of us in a band, and put them in mashers and bake them while we played music. And then we'd come out at break time and eat us a big old baked potato, and we might want to get us a hamburger or something with them. But, it was just good. And they got in a fight up there one night, and this one carried the other, and they tried to throw him in the lake. I guess he could swim. I didn't get too around the water too much because sometimes they throw the band in.
Yeah.
We played a thing down there at Sweetwater. A guy called me from Texas. He said, I've heard you playing a lot for Jake Butcher. I said, now, I ain't got the money like he's got, but what would you do a wedding? He's from Texas, I believe he said. And him, I don't know where the girl, he said, we saw a big motel down there at Sweetwater. They got a big old pool. Said, boy, it's just, they had just built it. So I gave him a price, and we went down to play it. Well, they all got drinking, after the wedding. And, oh, man, they was throwing a party. It was some kind of party. And they throwed everybody in the pool. Everybody went in the pool, and they walked up and looked at me, and I said, now, please don't throw us in the pool. I said, these instruments cost a lot of money. But what I was fixing to do is wrap it around his neck before I went in. I was really going to lose it. It wasn't going to be water soaked. He's going to let's go ahead and put him in the collar. I said, I'll get one of them. I told my band, I said, I'm going to get one. That banjo's heavy, but you come out here to get that. Hey, I told the guy one night, we got in a bad crowd, and I said, I want to take this banjo. If this guy's, I mean, he's rough. He's tearing up people. I said, when he comes up here to us, I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this banjo and whirl it around. This thing, he had a steel plate inside it. I said, if that don't knock him out, you ain't going to see me anymore. You ain't going to catch me because I'm going to be gone. If that don't knock him out, I said, if it does, I'll stay with you. But if I can't lay him out, we're not going to fight the rest of them. You know, and man, we played some bad places too. They wasn't bad, but they didn't get bad at night. Maybe it was there, but they didn't look too good. And I remember I carried one of them Derringers that High Standard had 2 shells.
Right.
It's 357. I mean, a 22 Magnum.
22.
You remember them? Didn't have no guard on the trigger.
Right.
I carried one around my front pocket, and I said, boys, if it gets too rough, I'm going to make a little path, but you better run close because it's got 2 shells and I ain't coming back. I mean, man, some of them places, they beat everybody up. They wait on the band, cut your tires up. And we was fortunate. The places that we went, some of them looked rough, but they wasn't. They was doctors and lawyers. And I remember I played the Mantle, a place called the Mantle. Well, you walk in and it was a big old shed, metal shed, peanut hulls on the floor, and they drunk their whiskey out of these mugs that had a handle on them. And they had a big old wagon, farm wagon in there, and all them pipes and everything was in it. And they served you all that. And it was so crowded. We had the room of a 4x6 table, I guess, is all we had a room to stand, 4 of us, just stand. And the table was pushed right up against her. This side didn't have no chairs, but the other side, they had people sitting on it. And just hollering, do this, do that, give me $5. Excuse me. And when they did, you know, I mean, you was trapped in there. And I looked in that place, and I said, they fight in here? And he said, I don't think so. And I got in there. It was just lawyers and doctors and high people like Jim Clayton and people. And they had a big plush room where they eat steak and everything. They'd come out there, they call that the shed. That's where they partied.
Right.
But, you know, you go in some of them places, I was hesitant, but I had to do them because
it was a payday.
Places like that had the money. They could pay you.
It was a payday.
Yeah, so we played there off and on. Just according to who was in town. We played there once a week if we was in town. Maybe we'd take them, just like where I went, I took it a year this time. Something I thought. Anyhow, I took it for a whole year this time, and well, we did it a year last time. Both of them, we had 2 of them. We did 2 of them, but we didn't do, they closed the other one down. They got something else in it. And we're doing this one quite a bit. And we have to play fill-ins if somebody lays out normally or something like that. But,
right.
You know, music life has been a good life, and I got to see things I'd never got to see and go places and White House and play for the 4th of July picnic and Howard Baker's. He had a big place up there, and he had a guest house on the side of the mountain up there. And we played a lot of political parties there. He's such a nice guy. We got to meet so many nice guys.
Nice people along the way.
Oh, they were just nice people all up through there. Sandra Day O'Connor, and Howard, get me a little water up in there. And we had, I played for the president of Egypt. I don't call them president, prime ministers and things, and Scotland, and Prince of Jordan, and Queen of the Philippines, and introduced Bill Clinton, and played for them, and young Bush, and I think Jimmy Carter, I believe. There's some more some big people like the CEO, the main man of General Motors.
Okay.
I played their party, and he had us he come over as a little short guy, chubby guy. And he just loved the banjo, I guess, because he was always standing there looking at me. I said, come here a minute, while they was doing a song. I said, just do that right there, just like that. And I'm going to chord it, and you play this banjo. And I said, now don't change it. Just change that lick right there, and I'm going to play on it. And I told him we're going to get him to play one. And he done that, and we played it. And of course, they played all the melody stuff, and he done that, and that banjo just fit. Oh, they went wild over him. Them big people in. Oh, look yonder, whatever his name was. He's playing the banjo. Look over yonder. Look. Oh, that man stretched around that night like he thought he owned where we're at. I guess he did, but probably. But I tried to make people happy everywhere I went, and keep them doing something that entertained them, and that's what people want. It's like Rick Campbell said. He said the band is thinking about how good they are, and they're trying to play for each other, but they got to know you're not working for each other. You're working for the audience out there, and you better do. And I heard yesterday a guy told me, it was Rick, said that he heard one of them talking, Ernest Tubb. He was on one of them big TV shows like Johnny Carson or something. And he said, how would you play on something like that? He said, well, let me tell you how you play on anything like that. People has a tendency to go out there and want to do a song they wrote. Nobody's heard it. Nobody knows it. Go out there and do the hottest song that you ever did. So try to pick a song that them people understand it. Like Waltz Across Texas.
Right.
I need to do Waltz Across Texas because people's familiar with it. And you walk out there and do Waltz Across Texas, you're going to get a big hand. See, if you go out there and do a song you wrote, I want to do one nobody's ever heard before. Well, that's right. It's like you eating something you ain't sure about. First time you tasted of it, and you wasn't sure of it right then. I remember the first time I ate them big old cold shrimp. I never had played them kind of parties, and I started eating them things. This girl was working with us playing bass. She said, have you ever eat one of them things? And I said, no. She said, I'll eat one if you will. So we took it on, she said, tomorrow night when we play, let's eat one of them. I'll eat it if you will. And we started liking them. The same way with lobster tail. But he said, when I go on something like Johnny Carson, play something people understands and they're familiar with. Now, I prefer them bring me a steak instead of them lobster tail and that stuff. I still like it, but lots of time I might rather have a steak. And see, it's with that music. If you say something I understood, Dolly Parton, if you heard I'll Always Love You, that's a really good song.
Right.
Or that guy that does Thank God for the USA.
Yeah, Lee Greenwood. God Bless the USA.
Yeah, see, they know you. They feel like they know you from that song.
And that song will last. Those types of songs like that will last forever.
Ever.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. Like I Will Always Love You, you can use for weddings, funerals, and you can use it for everything. And Lee Greenwood was smart when he wrote that song because that's going to last forever. Every 4th of July, you hear that song every year.
I'm going to tell you a guy that will last forever in his first big song, great big song, gigantic song, was Folsom Prison Blues and Johnny Cash. He played a simple guitar, do, 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 do. One string sounded like he was playing bass.
Right.
Look here, this guy started strong. And the day he died, he was still strong.
Yep.
He stayed strong all his life. Boy named Sue, Sunday morning coming down. Look at the things that he did. And
Ira Hayes.
Yeah. And, he just wrote so many love songs.
I still get requests over on Merle for Johnny Cash.
Oh.
People still call and want to hear him.
Oh, yeah. Johnny Cash. He was there, and look how many hundreds. Right now on this stage, I could bring any person up that had never been over with us. Monday night, good old one. Any person I brought up, and if I didn't know what he was going to sing, who do you sing, John? Can you do Folsom Prison Blues? Yeah. He'll get a big hand. I don't care who he is.
Yeah.
Or Elvis song.
Yeah.
Hound Dog. Or Close with How Great Thou Art, if you can really put it on Elvis.
Or Leonard Skinner, Freebird. Everybody wants
Margaritaville.
Yeah, Jimmy Buffett, all that.
Margaritaville.
And I think you're right. Sometimes when people make it big, they forget about the audience. They show up 2 or 3 hours late for a show that these people put money in, and
I told this girl, she can't work with us, and I said, give me some of the songs you sing. She said, I'll Always Love You. I said, good, can I sing one I wrote? And I said, I don't know it. The band don't know it. We can learn it in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't nothing we won't play because we don't feel it.
Yeah.
Now, You'll Always Love Me. We feel it. We play it. The audience loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And they mark you by that song. I got another girl that comes up and we go out and do a show. And he goes, da-da-do-do-do-do-do. He does that thing on Harper Valley PTA. He just
Right.
does, have the kickoff come
Right,
in.
yeah.
We don't introduce her. When she hears that kickoff, they play it till she gets on stage and she walks up and gets a microphone and starts singing it. She's real good. She sings it real good. And then when she hangs it up, I introduce her.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows that's her signal. And I told her, I said, already be out in the audience when you hear this. It means you're coming on. And I'm teaching them how to be professional.
I've never been to your shows out there at
You ought to
WYSH.
come see one.
I think maybe this Monday I may make a trip out
You
there.
ought to come out there and see. It's probably different. Nobody gets to do one song.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not like it. You may hear a bluegrass. You may hear a wagon wheel. Then you may go into Elvis,
Mm-hmm.
then George Jones,
Mm-hmm.
then a gospel, Margaritaville. Or
I'm gonna
be something. It's
I'm gonna try
always
to get out
different.
there Monday night.
I don't let a guy get up there and sing. Now, if it's a group like that boy, Daddy and them,
Mm-hmm.
it's their first time I let them do 6 songs. They're like a 15-minute set, and people wanted it. They liked it,
Oh, yeah.
and I cut them off just while they was tearing the house down. Really, it was about to get a standing ovation when I cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
My daddy told me that. He said, David, never give nobody all they want if you want them back. Cut them short just a little bit in your shows so they can't wait to get back to another one.
Mm.
And he also told me something I never did use too much. If you want to lose weight, push away from the table a little hungry every time. Now, my daddy was a man of wisdom.
Right.
And he could do it. And he could do that. He stayed my whole life. I remember my daddy weighed about 142 pounds. Him and my uncle both used to weigh 142 pounds. I was just a little boy. We get up there, they haul a lot of scrap on him. And he'd get up there, and my daddy hauled produce, and he hauled scrap on him, Uncle did. And he'd get on the big old big scales, they must be 4 feet in diameter.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd jump up, and that big old hand go around 142, 142 and a half, 142, 41, 43, right in there. 142 about to come up. Then I'd jump on the way. I was just a little big boy. I'd jump up there and watch that hand go up. It didn't go up very far, but I'd watch him and my uncle. They go at 142 pounds all the time.
What's that one joke a comedian told? He says, my wife wanted me to buy her something that went from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. So I bought her a scale.
Yeah, I like the one that I told you a while back. Said, this guy said his preacher friend and his wife went on a diet that they got up there, and he said, I'm so thankful to be here this morning. Said, my wife said, me and her both said we went on a diet, and said, my wife lost 60 pounds. Stand up, honey, and let everybody look at you. She stood up, and she looked so nice, and they gave her a big hand. And after church, this little woman, about 80-year-old, walked up and said, preacher, I want to talk to you. Said, there's something you need to learn, said, about women. You never talk about their age or their weight. If you was a husband of mine, said, I'd put poison in your drink. He looked at her and he said, if you was a wife of mine, I'd drink it. And that's a Mel Gibson joke. If you're listening, Mel, I'm going to give you credit for that when you give it to me.
So what else? You guys got anything else you want to say today? Or?
Well, we need to talk a little bit about Ciderville because we got Doug over there. And Doug is running us. Well, we got some Martin. If you want one, you better get them quick because we got some going out. And we got one Collins guitar. I believe he's got a Collins really good. And he's got some Martins. We got Martins. We got one of those real high-priced ones. It's one of those, I don't know, they made it. It's a copy of way back in the 30s. 27, I believe, 1927. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that's what it is. Reissue. Boy, they're good. I kept me one of them. We got one left now, I think. Takes about a year to get one when you order them. I had some come in, but we're down to one. And He's got a great guitar is a Crossroads. He's got a lot of Crossroads. We've got banjos and fiddles, and we got a 5-string dojo. That's kind of hard to come by. The dojos is plays like a dobro. It sounds like a dobro, but it's a dojo.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like we went to church one night, and this woman got up, and she kindly thought she had the gift of ESP or prophecy or something, and she got up. This is a true story. She got up. I heard 2 or 3 of them when I was a kid. You know, in little country churches, they didn't do like the big churches. You know, they really got into their religion. And she said, I had a dream last night. The preacher said, well, go ahead and tell it. I dreamed that this big old animal that had a head like a horse. It had feet like a horse. It wasn't a horse. Had a tail like a horse, but it wasn't a horse. Said it had mane like a horse, but it wasn't a horse. And this guy had a few drinks. He's sitting in the back, and he stood up and said, hey, woman, I know what you saw. You saw a mule. True story. And my preacher that baptized me, he weighed 425 pounds, but he wasn't fat. He was a man. He was a Mongo. I mean, he could stand up and let you put 1,000 pounds on his shoulder. He worked at Knox Iron Roller Mill. He probably stoutsen up, or he'd stand up, and he'd let him put 500 pounds on each shoulder, and he could stand there. He wouldn't walk, but he'd stand there and show him he could. He'd take him old big heavy pianos and lift one end, and said, 3 or 4 y'all get the other end, let's get this moved. He could just, he was a humongous man, but he wasn't fat, like a great old big belly. I mean, he was big. His arms were big. His legs were big. His head was big. He was just big. And he was preaching in there one night. I'll tell 2 funnies on him. Don't get too many of them. People might hurt yourself laughing. But anyhow, this woman got up. She's a great big woman, too. And she thought in them little churches, holiness churches, especially, they get the gift of prophecy, and they prophesy things that's going to happen. This one man said, I know what's going to happen. Said, I know that my wife knows the day before it's going to rain. I know the day after. We was talking about the gift of prophecy, And, but anyhow, she got up and she got talking. I don't know if she thought she was talking in tongues. Well, I'm not making fun of nobody's religion now. If you can, you can. If you handle snakes, I've been to snake handle churches. I've been to every kind I could go to. And I study them, and I like to watch them. I mean, I can't do it. I watch people drink their swords down. I like to watch them at the circus when they get down to their motorcycles. Now, that is something. I don't understand how you do it. I don't understand how they handle them snakes either.
I don't know.
I don't understand. Well, if they put me on that motorcycle, I'll be just a dead head on that stake. See, think about it. It's not just what he believes. And this guy came in one night and said, I could swallow a sword. And that guy said, I ain't got a sword. And he took a coat hanger, took it apart, and that guy took it down that 4. So you never know when somebody's doing something. I never bet on another guy's trick. If he's got the trick, he got it patented. But anyhow, the preacher was preaching. I guess the woman was going to prophesy or talk in tongues or something. She got up. She's saying, they parked the cars. She just kept on hollering at them. Finally, Brother Woodrow got tired here, and he said, hey, lady, if you don't mind, said, we know about them cars, so go ahead and sit down. Said, I think your trouble is you eat too much bologna before you went to bed. Here's another one. He come from Sevierville, up there in the mountains, and they were rough. I knew his mother barely because she was really sick when I went with my daddy to see her, visit her. And he had some sisters, and she was a rough woman. He was rough. I mean, he went to the penitentiary and everything. He told us about how everybody's under subjection to God is going to take care of you and bring you to your knees if he's got something for you to do till you get it done. And he said, I'd go in the penitentiary, and I thought I ruled the roost. I beat guards up and everything else, and directly they showed me who was boss. He said I had to get under subjections, but he had an uncle named Tom Rayfield. They lived up there close to Dolly, up in there. It was snowing that morning. I was probably maybe 8. I'm probably 10 or 12. I was a little older. Because I was sitting up in the amen corner with Daddy. And here come this guy that's, I can see it just like it is right now. He opened the front door. He had them big old galoshes. I don't know who you remember them, right? They had them metal hooks and they go over and snap. You remember them?
Oh, yes.
And he didn't have them buckle. There's snow out there, and he had them on, had his overalls on. He was dressed clean, but he had to come in out of that snow. It was a big snow. Most people didn't get out, but old timers get out in the snow and everything, go to church.
We walked anyhow. So.
Walk. Well, yeah, just walk if you couldn't drive. They didn't put chains on and everything. Church was important. My daddy was janitor, and he had to go because he got far than big old potbelly stove. This feller's name Uncle Tom. It was his uncle, the preacher's uncle. He come walking through the door. I can see him like he's walking right now. Walked up through there, and just a church about 30 feet long, or 30, maybe 40 feet long. He walked up to the pulpit, and that was his nephew, Woodrow was. And he said, "Wood, I'm sick." Wood said, "Well, we're sorry if you've been sick, Uncle Tom." He said, "Yes, but don't you all pray for me?" He said, "Okay, y'all gather around, some of you deacons and stuff. I'm going to pray for Uncle Tom." They got the oil out. Now anointed him real good, and he stood there. And I'm right there 4 feet from him. You know, I was taking it all in. I thought the miracle was going to happen. He prayed for Uncle Tom, and Uncle Tom stood there, and they all sat back down. And he said, "Wood, that prayer didn't get that high. I'm still sick." I can tell you some of the funniest things at church, you know. Man, I took a job with helping some gospel people, and we had to drive from here on Sunday morning out to Georgia. They'd go through Copper Hill and Ducktown, and then just as you cross the Georgia line, I can't think of what the name of it was, but there's a church, and here was the deal. We had one guy played guitar, one played mandolin, and I played banjo. I just started. I hadn't got picking for a living at that time. And we went in there. It's a little church building in a shopping center or something, I remember. And we had to build a fire in that potbelly stove. We had to get there early and build a fire. Then we had to dust the pews off because we hadn't had no church since last Sunday. Mm-hmm. Then we took a car and went and made 2 or 3 trips to get the people to church because they didn't have no transportation. And we had about 12, 15 people. We got up, and we played, and we sang, and then keep the fire burning, hand out the songbooks. And when we did, then we had to take them home. This went on for a while, and that preacher wasn't making enough money, I guess, suit him. And he said, "You know what? I wish people knew what this church stuff's up to." He said, "They don't understand. There's more to church work besides dusting pews and building a fire and handing out songbooks. Ain't it? His guys making the run." I got to give you one more, and then we'll close out.
All right.
But this was probably one of the best ones I ever heard. Or saw. I mean, I was going church there. This feller, and what I remember so much, I loved antique cars when I was a kid, and he had a 38 long-nosed Packard. There's them old straight 8s, I guess, 12-cylinder. Some of them had 12s and some of them 8s. He had this old 38 Packard. Oh, I thought that was the prettiest car that ever hit the road. Oh, they was pretty. That big old long nose, that trunk back on the back where it's made, and he's pulling one of them. I saw one of them last night, and I told Karen, I said, "There's one of them trailers like that preacher used to preach in that jet stream or whatever it is, you know, a real pretty trailer."
Right, Gulfstream or something.
And he had one of them. Well, they had outside toilets. So he used toilet outside. And this little church just had a little lever, and it turned the lights on and off. When you turned that lever down, everything in there died. Plugs, lights, and everything. Everything come on. It is either on or off. Well, he parked right beside the window. He ran an extension cord, and they wired him in that little box. He had his juice. He had him a garden hoses in the summertime that ran all the way to the house up there where one of the members lived, and he had her city water, or her well water, rather, pumped into his house. Well, after that, there he sat, that big old Packard, and everything. He had the comforts of nothing. He had to spend for nothing.
Mm.
They had water bill, light bill, everything. Well, they was just a poor little church. They didn't have no money much to give away. And everybody was on farms and stuff. My daddy hauled produce, take them a big old bag of oranges and apples and nuts and all kinds of potatoes. And they had garden stuff. Oh, they'd bring in potatoes, cut him off a big old slabs of ham, side meat. Some of them would bring him eggs by the dozens. Some of them bring him a barrel of flour meal where they had, they'd fix them up flour and meal. And some of them had cows and they had buttermilk, sweet milk, and a big old pound of butter. I mean, he ate like a king. He had it all. I remember every Sunday night they had one great old big long bench. It's real long. I got one of them at Ciderville. And they'd load that bench down. I mean, he had to carry 5 or 6 trips in there to carry it all in his house. But it went on for about 2 or 3 months, I guess, maybe 6 or 8 weeks. He got up, and his name was Preacher Paul. He got up and he was preaching. And I want to tell you people something that I appreciate being pastor here at this little church. And me and my wife both, we're living comfortable. We got our lights and our water. Some of the best food I ever eat in my life. He said, them hams is good, and them eggs, sweet milk, buttermilk. Butter, he said, who could ask for any better food than you people feed me? But there's one thing I want to discuss with you. I want you people to know you're going to have to come up with some money because that Packard out there won't run on that buttermilk. I'll never forget that. That's a good one. Well, till we get to see you again, remember, Saturday night, Doug's got a big show with a good group coming. Donnie and Patty, I believe, is coming this week.
That's at Ciderville, right?
Ciderville. And he's also got open mic night on karaoke and stuff on Friday night. They have church on Sunday, a nice little church. They've had church on Sunday for probably 15 years now. It's been a church on Sunday. If you need to rent it for a party, see Doug, he can put you right in there. We have all kinds of parties. We've had $100 a night plates, and we just had all kinds of stuff over there. So, in fact, David Farmer used to come over and run it and help me. And
yeah, I haven't been to Ciderville in a while. I used to go every Saturday night.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
In a while.
They've got really good bands and stuff. And, of course, this music store is cooking, so go over if you need strings, picks, or whatever. Drums, they've got some new drums in. If you need guitars, if you need a good old Crossroads, I mean, that's one of the best guitars on the market, low-end guitars right now. Well, wherever you do, come see us at Y Wings Monday night. Good Lord willing, we'll be there at 6 o'clock. Show starts at 6:30, and good place to eat. And it don't cost you nothing to get in, just what you eat. It's all you pay for, and party and show all night if you want to. Till we quit.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks.
Okay.
Always enjoy filling in on a Thursday morning for Ron. I love just hearing the stories.
Yeah.
Fun. All right, guys.
Okay.
All right, guys, you have a safe rest of your day, and we're going to go back to some music. And don't forget, later on tonight at 6 o'clock, we've got Trading Time right here on WYSH.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor. Or email from our website. It's Ask Your Neighbor. Thanks for listening.